Uh, what you say, baby? Baby, 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 baby. Friday, Friday. Yo. What up, what up, what up, what up, y'all? Friday, Friday, what can I say? Hey. Good morning, everybody. What's popping? What's dropping? What's down? Yeah, it is Friday morning, 9 a.m., 9:11 to be exact. How about that? What up, Felicia? What up, Phenomenal Beauty? I see y'all coming in. What up, Mary? Yeah. What up, Valentine? When y'all come in, start hitting that like button right away, man. Y'all go crazy. Go crazy with the like button. And if you're joining me on YouTube, make sure you type so I know you're in the room with me. I need to know who's on the live. Who's on the live? Who's on the live? Who's on the live with me? La-de-da-de, we came to party. I be on the microphone disturbing everybody. Crazy. Yeah, y'all. Let me see where we at over here. Every time I snap and I rap. What up, Key? What up, Molly? What up, Red? What up, Twyla? What up, Patty? Yeah, run the likes up, y'all. Let's get started. How about the chat? What's up with that? Let's close that. Yeah, what up, Letitia? Good morning. Letitia always checking in. Let me do this right here. Letitia, did you see what happened last night? What up, Jira? Oh, let me do this. Let me say, support the live. Good morning, good morning, good morning, y'all. We almost ready. Yeah. Yeah. Man, how about they kicked me off early? Like they kicked me off first. Like I was clowning them too, man. If y'all didn't join me last night on this other joint. So last night was crazy. Where you been, man? Where you been, Jira? You ain't got to miss us. We be here. Icy, what's up, beautiful? Kimmy Reed, what's happening? How you gonna miss us? Where you been? We been right here. We been right here, yo. Yeah, so last night I lent my comedy talents, as I do some of these nights. I lent my comedy talents out to stand-up Courtney, a young kid who's he's on a show called Wild and Out. So he does this thing on, at night. And I joined him, what I mean? I joined him every so often, you know what I'm saying? Just to scratch my comedic itch or whatnot. And I saw a few of my familiar faces. A few champions showed up to support. And last night was really, really funny. I had a good time. Of course, you know what I'm saying? We be cutting into people and stuff like that. So it was really different. It is Friday, man. It's 14 minutes after the hour. Friday, it's 15 minutes after the hour. Friday, November 4th. It is 53 degrees with a high of 73 degrees here in Atlanta. I don't know what y'all temperatures like where y'all are at, but woo-wee, it's going to be nice. It's been pretty cool, man. There have been times I was like, maybe I should broadcast from the patio. What up, Ron Bacon? What up? I see you coming in from Facebook. People are checking in on my YouTube. I've been working in the office to train staff so I don't have the freedom I do at home. Oh, okay, they got you back in the box. That's what's up. We here though, you know what I'm saying? One of the things that you can count on is that, you know what I'm saying, when you do show back up, your peoples is right here. That's my Flint Town homie, Ron Bacon, you know what I'm saying? Joining from Facebook. We got a few people in the house. Listen, if you join in on Facebook or any of the other platforms, make sure y'all hit the like button when you come in. I'm able to add y'all broadcast right there. You see it, Ron Bacon is on the screen right there. Let me add Letitia right there. Letitia said good morning. If y'all looking at the Facebook page, y'all can see where I'm doing all these different things, where I'm able to add some of the comments from those people who are joining the live. So we're doing big things over there. I love all that love y'all spreading on me right now. Listen, it is Friday, man. Right, I've been in training for work. Y'all going in, they getting y'all up, heading to ATL on a flight, just passing through. Oh, okay, Sonny. So where you headed today, Sonny? Sonny says she getting out of Dodge. I know you're in Florida right now, so you coming up to take the hub and then going somewhere else. Where you headed? I love all that love over there. I love all that love from my people that are on YouTube right now. She's going to Ohio. Which part? Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Dayton. What else is they got? Lima, Piqua. Like, don't ask me how and why I know all those places. I just do. Being from the Midwest, you know that. Oh, so you know what, Cleveland? All right, going to what they call the land. So you know the my co-host yesterday was on there. I mean, Ron said he's in Minneapolis right now. That's what's up. That's which part of Minneapolis? You're in the part where, I mean, that's where what's that big mall they got up there? What's it called? Mall of America? Is that what it is? I had a beautiful time in Minneapolis. Me and Minneapolis can do no wrong. The home of everybody's favorite guitar player and mentor, Prince Rogers Nelson, aka Prince. It's going straight. Carolyn is getting better now that you're here. She said she got to go to the boonies. That's funny. It's doing a lot better now that everybody's here. Listen, you guys get an opportunity. Make sure, Mall of America. That's the name of it. When y'all get an opportunity, continue to hit the like button, share the live as usual. You know what I'm saying? If you guys feel the need or feel the desire to, you guys can always gift and you can Cash App, but you can always kick it. You know what I'm saying? Because we be here every day, man. For all of you people who subscribe, they give a shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for y'all support, man. It's necessary for this for me to feel a certain way when I be on this live. You know what I'm saying? That energy be coming. Y'all show y'all appreciation, and it's really a cool thing. So I want to say thanks in advance for that. Jira, I see you. Appreciate it. Lawrence, what's happening? Welcome to the live. Yesterday we had a really cool day, man. For those of you who missed it, I really felt like we really helped Alpha out yesterday, you know. And Alpha, if y'all don't really notice, Alpha shows up every day, man. He very rarely speaks. And that's making me feel like, you know what I'm saying, I'm more excited about having more co-hosts, you know, come to the platform and hang out and you know, and talk, because do I think that he would have said what he said had it just been me? I would have to say no, because he's been here. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's been here a few times already and hasn't shared as much as he shared, you know, as much as he shared yesterday. And I feel like we had a breakthrough yesterday for him. So hopefully he chases that dream. Yesterday we were talking about change and how, you know, change affects you, the pros and the cons of the change. And, you know, how sometimes you can get stuck in a rut. And that you just got to push through, man, and for the breakthrough that you want, for the success that you want, for the, you know, so your life isn't stagnant. You just got to, you know, you just got to break loose. And so I feel like he did that. I feel like he's on the verge of doing that. Anybody who's stuck in your, you know, in the mundaneness of life, man, y'all just got to, you know, tweak it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's not required that you do a major overhaul in your life, but do something different to keep it exciting. You know what I'm saying? Like, too many times we get really, really comfortable with ourselves and with the position that we have in life. And you know, it really requires, for an exciting life, it requires us to step out on faith and do some crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that we're good. Now, nothing that's going to be harmful to you or whatnot, but I think you just definitely got to just say, you know what? I want more. I want to do something. I want to have a lot more fun. You know what I'm saying? The Cash App, LaRon is, let me do this. I'm going to type it in here for you. I thought it's on my what's names, but it's not on there. Here's the Cash App. Cash App, yeah, TRXS now. So yeah, you needed to hear it too. So yeah, that's, I mean, a lot of people do, right? Because a lot of times we don't veer from the program. A lot of us just stay put. and it's a safest space. You know, we become such a safe place. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't take the risk that it takes to really excuse me, to stretch this life to the limit. You know what I'm saying? We get into a safe space and we say, cool. And then we envy those who actually, you know, go balls to the wall, that take life by the horns and really start navigating themselves around it. So hopefully I'm a motivational factor for you guys like that, man. I really, you know, it's about getting it in. It's about doing things. Y'all will see more over the next few weeks. Thanksgiving, I'm traveling for a wedding. Y'all will see me, you know, doing all kind of adventurous stuff. I'm gonna take y'all with me, but I think I gotta add it more in the posts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that part will be in the post so that y'all can see it, because I like staying and living in the moment. And that's one of the things I could tell y'all needs to happen as y'all move forward. Don't be a camera person. You know what I mean? Like, don't be the person holding the camera. Let's try this for the rest of the year. As much as you can, don't be the person holding the camera. Give your camera to somebody else so they can film you. Give somebody else the opportunity to make you the star of the show. Can we do that? I think it's so necessary that you allow other people to uplift you and to exalt you and to what up, Rose, and to make you the star of the show. Too many times we're the ones behind the camera, but we're really the talent. We're really the ones who people should be watching. We're really the ones who are having that moment. The podcast is coming. It looks like a podcast setting. Yeah, it's coming together, sweet. It's coming together. I got a few tweaks I'm gonna make. You know what I'm saying, to make it even more so. I got to get a couple more cameras and then redo the space. So I've been thinking about all of those things. Again, it's about pushing things to the limit. It's about stretching things out. If I really want this podcast to be everything that I want it to be, then I absolutely have to aesthetically make it, you know. But I understand this is what you could take. What up, Treese? Is that you got to start somewhere. Now I don't know who needs to hear this, but you got to start somewhere. Good morning, beautiful. You have to start somewhere. A lot of times we won't start something because we're waiting on something. Some of you want to start shooting your own content, but you won't shoot your own content because you're waiting for a better camera, or you're waiting on something. I was just asked to speak about recidivism at a nonprofit organization event in January. That's what's up. You accept it, right, Jira? You know what I mean? I know they asked, but do you accept it? That's what should happen, and you shouldn't eat an elephant. Free knowledge. But you know, we gotta stop waiting. Yep, or they're waiting on someone else. You know what I'm saying? We gotta start looking at things like, how bad do you want it? That's awesome, Jared. We can't wait to hear how that goes. You know what I'm saying, about your great time doing that. And hope, you know, we know that you're gonna light that stage on fire. So always include, you know, a little bit of humor, a lot of education, and nothing but that bomb energy that we know you're gonna bring to the table. You know what I mean? What up, Jira? Agent? Yeah, man, we up. And I'm trying to make this a regular time. 8 or 9 in the morning is what's going to allow me to also have more freedom throughout the day to do some other things. But yeah, man, I think that and I'm guilty of it just as much as anybody else. There have been times where I put life on pause for other people or for circumstances to be just right. It's never going to be just right. It is never going to be just right. Most of you understand that because you go through things and you're thrown into situations sometimes, and you really get the opportunity to see how dope you really are. Like, when you really start, you don't know the kind of resolve that you actually have until you've challenged it, until you put yourself out there and say, you know what, I'm gonna make this work. And I think that's something that is something that you learn as a person who was grown up without resources. You find a way to do it. Like y'all, people wonder how people in the hood or in the ghetto, if you want to call it that, how they're so happy. It's because they have figured things out. Like, you don't have a choice when you don't have a lot of resources. Yeah, you got to make things happen, sweetest. You can't wait for things to happen. You got to make things happen. But a lot of us that grew up in the hood, you know, we didn't have a lot of resources, so we had to make life fun, even in the midst of the challenges that was put before us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we grew up in situations in single parent homes. What was we gonna do? Not enjoy life because we was missing a parent? You know what I'm saying? No, we had to go crazy. You know what I'm saying? We got to do what we got to do because we want to enjoy life too. Well, when it comes to the things and the dreams that you're chasing, you have to take that same attitude with you. You know what I'm saying? People wonder, like, you know how you hear about these kids, you're like, yeah, he came from a single family home and his brothers and da was murdered, but somehow he managed to get a PhD. Well, we understand that life happens, things are going to happen, and for us, growing up as products of single parent homes and those neighborhoods, we understand that things most of the time aren't going to go our way. One of the exciting parts is when it starts going your way. You could tell somebody who grew up through adversity because none of the nonsense really gets to them. None of the nonsense. And if it does, they're so resilient about it. What up, Letitia? They were so resilient about it. And it's because of the training course that we've gone through. Like, you got to go through something to get to something. Now, it may not be that you're going through it to get to that actual thing, but it may be that there's a lesson that you got to learn that's going to prepare you for the next level. How many times have you said, if I knew all this back then, you know what I'm saying, or I needed to know this, and this is why I didn't get what I felt I should have got way back then. You know what I'm saying? You say to yourself, if I knew then what I know now, you know what I'm saying? You realize they couldn't have given nobody in this life, if Lotto, they could not give y'all what was it? The lottery was something like $1 billion the other day. Not one person in this room is capable of winning that jackpot. Not one person in this room as a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old would have been capable, and even some of us now aren't capable of managing that kind of account. You know what I mean? None of us are able to really manage that kind of account because that kind of responsibility comes with first learning to manage something less than that. Now, some people wonder why they haven't achieved a certain level of success yet. There's a lesson out there for somebody. There's something that you need to go through. There's something that you need to learn. There's an education that you're missing out on. And you probably already went through one or two iterations of that lesson that's supposed to give you the education you need for the next level. This is why you can't be so stuck on yourself where you don't allow yourself to evolve. You can't keep hitting your head up against the same brick wall expecting some sort of miracle to happen. When the brick wall is in place for a reason, it's saying that's not the route to go. It's saying take an adjustment. We got to go around it. We got to go over it. We got to go under it. We got to figure out something else. But most people will stand there staring at that wall or continuously bumping their head against that wall. They will continue to do it. And you say, yo, you do see that wall right there, right? You do see that wall. I need you got to figure something else out. But you've seen it. You got friends who are doing the same thing today that they did a year ago. You see friends that have did the same thing for the past 5 years. And I have to ask people, I say, yo, how's that working out for you? Are you getting the results that you expected to get? And if not, why are you waiting so long to adjust and change? Why is it taking you so long to receive the message? The longer it takes you to understand what you're going through and why, the longer it takes you to have the breakthrough that you're supposed to have. And people wonder why they're having delayed success. Well, it's because I say to people, it's levels to this. Sometimes I like to use obvious people so you can understand. But if you even go as far as like Obama to be president meant Obama had to be a senator or whatever his position was before that. And then before that, he had to be setting himself up to be that. So if he started off as just a regular guy, then he had to go to school and get the education so he could be the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. You know what I'm saying? What are you going through that's taking you to the next level? I love the fact that Jira and I want to say, I can't remember who exactly was with Jira, but the two of them were, were advancing at their jobs. Like they were taking, training people and advancing in their position. It's necessary that you do that. No, nobody, listen, if y'all gonna work a 9 to 5, then y'all should be the dopest person at the 9 to 5. If you're gonna work it for the time listen, you got to remember that you're bartering your time. You have agreed to sell your time for a certain amount of money per hour. And if you've done that, then make that hour that you've loaned it the dopest time that you're there. Make it the dopest 9 to 5. Now, do I say exert all your ideas and all that kind of stuff? No. Hopefully you got an idea of your own that's going to alleviate you having to work a 9 to 5 in the future. I hope that there are a bunch of entrepreneurs on this live or within the sound of my voice that is going to be working towards doing their own thing. That is truly my hope. Like if you work a 9 to 5, and of course, if you're not happy with your 9 to 5, then you should absolutely be spending just enough time and energy there that will allow you to catapult out of that office space or job or whatever and start on what you want to do for yourself, the thing that you see you moving forward with. You got to have those things in place. You can't be afraid to chase your dreams. You can't be afraid to reassess the value of your time throughout the day. So if I'm going to give you my 9 to 5, if I'm going to give you this amount of money, if I'm going to allow you to pay me this amount of money for these 40 hours, well, what are you doing with the other hours that you have? If you have 24 hours in a day, 8 to 10 you dedicate to someone else. You have 14 hours left. How are you spending that 14 hours to help leverage or balance what you're not getting or what you feel you deserve that the 9 to 5 isn't giving you? If the 9 to 5 isn't giving you what you want financially, then how do you balance that out with the time that you have for yourself? Letitia says, yes, I see my daughter repeating the cycle. I was hot-headed, but you can't tell her anything. In 2 years, she hasn't accomplished anything, just wasting life. Other daughter is focused and succeeding. And so in those scenarios, too, what I realized, Letitia, is it's difficult because siblings compete and siblings watch the other sibling and don't manage to focus on themselves. And that's the challenge in those scenarios. You don't know if it's just a lack of motivation or if she's discouraged from how the other sister's moving. And we tend to champion the sister that is excelling, and we don't really put our hands around or on the one that isn't, and they rebel because of it. So, Letitia, how far apart are they in age? If they're 3 to 4 years apart in age, that may be part of the reason, because one would have been feeling like an only child until the other child comes into the picture, and then that might have discouraged them from, made them feel some kind of way. I've seen a scenario like that. Sonny says, I am always trying these get-rich schemes. One of them got a hit. I would say, while you're trying your get-rich schemes, why don't you also incorporate something that's going to be maybe a slow burn to that success that you want? Maybe you just do something that, while you're doing the quick thing, that you got something that is you got a log in the fire that's slow burning. You know what I'm saying? Like, balance it out. Like, yes, you should. I love the fact that you are taking that high yield risk. I love that you're doing that you're taking this risk on these quick schemes. But you should also have, that other thing that, like, if you're going to invest, then you should also have a savings. Let me just say it that way. If you're going to invest the time for this quick rich stuff, then what time are you spending on the foundational stuff? Things that'll be there and elevate you even more as you go and give you more flexibility and at least more assurance that you're going to be okay while doing those get rich schemes. Like, balance, y'all. We got to really balance out everything that we're doing. When you're being challenged by these different situations, look at what you can do to offset it. There's always a yin and a yang, and how you respond to the yin and the yang is going to dictate how smoothly things move forward. You don't mind if you lose $100 on your get rich quick thing if you've made $75 on your slow burn thing, because then you're like, it's just $25. But if you lose that $150 on your get rich quick scheme and you don't supplement it with anything else, you're gonna be like, man, I just wasted. Excuse me. You're gonna feel like you wasted this $150 or whatever it is. So balance, y'all. In everything that we do, we gotta have some balance. So they're 2 years apart. So that that is that's not part of it then. Because I was saying with the siblings, when they are, what up, Sharice? When they're 3 to 4 years apart, the oldest one would feel like they were the only child for a while and would be able to recognize that other sibling coming into the picture, taking their time away and feel like they're taking their parent away. And so that would have been one of those instances. But it sounds like there's just something else going on between them. Their ambitions are just and their chase and their run for their ambitions are just different. Yeah, man, it is 9:36, November the 4th, Friday. We getting ready for the weekend, man. We know Sonny is traveling. Anybody else got any big plans for this weekend? Anybody else doing anything exciting? I was supposed to be doing this thing tomorrow, but I feel like it's I just feel like I feel like it's not, there. I feel like there's a bit of disingenuousness to it. And so I've decided to opt out. But it was it was something that, y'all know I enjoy speaking, so I think it was something, a speaking engagement that had something to do with that. So, hey, for all my Friday people, make sure y'all do something, man. Make sure y'all do something fun for yourselves, with others, because community is everything. Hopefully, Sonny, hopefully you're going up to visit family or friends and people who haven't seen you in a while who really appreciate you being there. Make sure you guys are sharing the live. I know it's not a whole lot of us in the room, but if you share the live, that always goes a long way. Make sure you hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, you guys can continue. Well, you guys have already thumbs up. If you're joining from any other area, there should be a way to like the live over there as well. But yeah, man, it's been a crazy week. I've been looking into this Kyrie Irving situation, where he's kind of doubling down. Second family Thanksgiving, okay. Oh, so you finna stay up there for a while, because most times Thanksgiving is like 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away. But I'm looking at this Kyrie Irving situation and how they're trying to make him now feel as though he made an anti-Semitic remark, but he really didn't. All he did was tweet about this book. It's called, I was looking at it earlier. Let me see. It's a book that was turned into, it's a book that was turned into a movie. And I'm gonna try to find it. Yeah, it's called Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. It's called Hebrews to Negroes. They do it now because they could be snowed in and things. That's what's up. What up, Pearl? Hebrews to Negroes. If you guys haven't heard about this book, it's kind of the part of the concept to what Nick Cannon was talking about. It's also the concept behind, thanks, Crump. That's what's up, man. Thank you, bro. You are great, and thanks for sharing yourself with us. I appreciate you, bro. You know that, you fam. Hebrews to Negroes. And what the whole argument is this, and this is supposed to be such a huge book and documentary that they don't want people watching, and that's why they're really discouraged by the fact that all Kyrie Irving did was tweet the book. All he did was tweet the book. Now, tell me how crazy, what's up, Enough? How crazy is it that you can get admonished for tweeting the title of a book? That's what's up, Pearl. Pearl says she's about to get a new whip. That's what's up, Tashi. What's happening? Yeah, man, bend some corners. You know what I'm saying? It's always exciting to invest back into your comfort. That's what I hope you do when you buy your car, that it offers you more comfort than you had previously in your other cars, because that's really what it's about. If you're a person who's comforted by going fast, then by all means get you a fast car that does it well. If you're a person who's comforted by the luxury of some of the amenities in the car, then, you know, spend a little bit more, get those luxuries met, like auto start. Here's some cool ones. Auto start, and auto start is always dope. Heated seats are dope. Multiple USB plugs or regular plugs in the car, not only for just the front seat, but the back seat. That's dope. Yeah, Bobby says boycott the NBA and Amazon. They're trying to come at Kyrie Irving for tweeting this book. And here's the big to-do. A lot of y'all don't understand what the big to-do is with the Kanye West and the Kyrie Irving and the Nick Cannon debacle. They've read this book, and because of the facts that are in this book, it outlines how you and most American Negroes are descendants of Abraham and his 5 sons, or the 12 tribes, which are black tribes out of Africa. But they were also Jewish. You know what I mean? That's what's up. From an Explorer driving above sea level to a Subaru need room for my pity. That's what's up. So that's the discrepancy, is that there are Jewish people in America that don't look like the descendants of Africa, who are a small group that is admonishing black Africans, people who are from Africa who are actually Jewish. They're admonishing those individuals. They don't want to acknowledge that, and they're claiming that they are the rightful descendants, but they're not. And it's been talked about, and it's outlined in this documentary very, very, very detailed as to who the rightful owners, who the rightful those people are. And of course, when you bring truth to the light, those people who are in power are going to try to push that truth away because they have to be held accountable for their input in the injustices surrounded by that. So as much as these people want to be exalted, when the truth comes out, it's like, no, we can't celebrate you because you're behind this. You had your hand in this. And people are trying to absolve themselves from that. Y'all see that with the American with the American situation, where they want to get rid of critical race theory because they don't want to talk about the injustices that they've imparted, and they don't want that legacy passed down. These legacies are exactly what they are, your legacy. And because they are as heinous as they are and as messed up as they are in the past, you have to, when you recognize and own your contribution to these horrible situations, you got to do something about it. You got to fix it. Like, you absolutely have to fix those situations. You got to do something different. People don't like to apologize correctly. People do not like to go back and say, I was wrong. Yeah, Tashi, this freedom of speech. Listen, I typed it on the Shannon Sharp and somebody else was talking about Kyrie the other day, and they were like, that people could say it, just he shouldn't say it. They were talking about, they pay him $36-something million to play basketball, not to do this. And all I could think of is that you have bought a person's talent, not shut them up. Like, how is it that they want nowadays, they're saying, and I get what they're saying. They're saying, we're paying you all this money to promoting you. Here's the real problem they have. They have a problem with promoting talented people, and then those talented people promoting a cause. They have a challenge with saying, we elevated you to this position, and this is what you're going to do? You're going to expose us? You're going to talk negatively about us? And it ain't even talking negatively about anybody. It's stating the truth. Who gets mad at the truth except the person who hasn't except the person that's been disingenuous? That is what we're talking about. Ultimately, we're talking about, is there somebody at my front door? Ultimately, we're talking about, let me see what's going on. Ultimately, we're talking about people being upset for the truth being exposed. Okay, Amazon came. They're upset that the truth is being exposed. Who does that unless it's a person who is lied or who has been undermining the truth all this time? That's why people don't trust the Vatican and whatnot, because it's a big lie. It's a big hoax. Like they have shielded these people. Excuse me. They have shielded these people, and they have taken advantage based off of the positions that they put themselves in. And it's happening today. And this is what Kanye West was talking about. Kanye West was basically saying this: these people are at the top of the food chain, and they're continuously, if y'all thought the robbing and the pillaging and the slaving, all that has stopped, it hasn't. I can give y'all examples of modern day slavery, but nobody wants to hear it because it's the slaves nowadays are getting paid more than they've ever gotten paid. The reason why Colin Kaepernick was the only one to take a knee is because the other slaves are still getting paid, and they fear. And if we talking about those terms, they fear massa. The reason why basketball players don't collectively stand out and support a Kyrie Irving when he says, "Hey man, this concoction they trying to give us ain't what we should be taking, man. We should do something different." And then they all fold and they go ahead and take it. Lined up and ready. They all had a choice. I want y'all to understand this. In every scenario of the past 2 years or 4 years, those players that didn't take a knee had a choice. They could stand in the fold for injustice. They could stand up to injustice, or they can go along with the status quo and not cause no problems. There are too many of us who would rather stand in the fold. I mean, stand and just go with the flow. Ain't no problem. It's okay. It's okay. We do that in our own neighborhoods. We do this when it comes to our own communities. We do this we don't have that much to lose when we do it. Yeah, they sign those contracts, and here's the thing. That's what they believe, Bastar. They believe that they're bought and sold. But when you have a Kyrie Irving who said, "No, y'all pay for my talent. Y'all can't pay to shut me up. Y'all can't pay to shut me up." But that is why. That's the reason why our communities are what they are is we stand idly by and are afraid to get in the way for the repercussions that may happen. The crazy part is that in the hood, the repercussions ain't even the same. We don't stand to lose as much as these people who have spent their lives acquiring much. All we lose in the biggest sense of it is not being able to be as comfortable as we were before. That's really it. But what good is being comfortable for this moment when we know down the pipeline we're going to be highly uncomfortable because we're not together? Yeah, man. There's some things that are going to be coming down the pipeline that require unification. It requires unity. It requires everybody to be together. But at the highest level, we got these iconic people that have done amazing things and acquired many things, acquired extreme wealth, fame, and influence. And we don't, I have a problem with the fact that we don't protect these people. I advocated for Kyrie when he said he wasn't going to take the shot. I advocated really hard. What up, Sam? I advocated so hard for Kyrie because I knew he'd end up standing alone. Yep, if we stop fighting each other, Bobby says, and help each other, we can benefit as a group. You're exactly right. And that is why they inserted guns in the neighborhoods. This is why they entered drugs into the neighborhoods, because this is why they gave the quick money schemes and put them in the neighborhoods. And they said, "Listen, man, y'all fight for who gonna win this." You know what I'm saying? And as long as you're fighting within each other, there's no way you can see outside of yourselves. You're too busy dealing with the person in front of you. It's the elephant. It's the standing too close to the elephant. Most people who do those heinous things in the community are standing face to face with the elephant. They're right up on the elephant like this, so they can't see anything but that. But when you move the hand back, you can see all these people who are pulling the strings and doing the things to undermine the situation. So the objective is always to divide. The objective is is always to divide. Letitia on YouTube says, people don't believe, but there are still locations in Mississippi that do not allow blacks. You know where and where not to go. I can believe that. Shoot, that don't sound like a far-fetched to me, because we keep acting like we're 1,000 years removed from all the heinous things that used to happen. We're 60 years, y'all. 60 years. That's it. We're almost one whole generation's lifetime away from the crazy stuff that they used to do to us. So that hasn't swept the whole country. Y'all do realize there are these pockets of racism that have never ever left. Well, y'all gone, and it's usually in the South. Y'all go ahead and do that. When I say that, I mean some of them still feel boldly. Y'all know that somebody brought this up the other day, that that slavery is on the ballot. Yeah, sundown places in Illinois, I could believe it. It's probably more towards Champaign in that area, Springfield, Tashi. You know what I'm saying? But they can't run a sweeping legislation over all that, because these are the kids of those people who were in the midst of the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s that believe that it should never have went away. What up, Paul? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I've been through that area. That's why I kind of know. Yeah, 60 years ain't a long time ago, but that's the disconnect that we have. Is people when they talk about this stuff, people be like, oh man, that's a long, long time ago. No, it's not. Your parents went through that. Their parents, your grandparents, were a part of slavery. How they were is a whole nother thing. You know, how they, where they were when it was being, when it was very active is a whole nother thing. But they were definitely, they saw it. You know what I mean? They've seen the crimes from it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody look up the date, the Emmett Till situation. I think that was 50s or 60s. We're not that far removed from it, y'all. And that's the part that is unnerving, is that how soon we forget the things that we should remember, that should be stamped into our hearts and minds, that are badges that we wear daily in order to focus on what we need to be doing. Every day we got to move forward, y'all. Every day. And we're finding out and hearing more about these documentaries and these conversations that are happening that we need to look into. I would love for everybody to either watch the movie or buy the book, from Hebrew to Negro. Let me make sure I got the title right. I don't want to mess it up. Let me see. Yeah, it's called Hebrews to Negroes. Wake Up, Black America. Now, why do y'all think listen, here's another thing I want y'all to consider. Why is it that I need y'all to understand just how powerful all this stuff is and why we talk about it as much? It's because there's a commission on us to change the way things are. There's a commission on us that we have to change things. And the American Negro has to change things so that we can help change things in Africa. Yeah, see, 1955, Emmett Till. My great aunts and uncles in Detroit now in 80 and 90 have stories from Arkansas, sad and empowering. You see what I'm saying? That's not a long time ago. That's not even 100 years ago. So there are descendants of those moments that were born around that time that have memory of those events. You know what I'm saying? That people who were, they're, like she said, in their late 80s and 90s, that know verbatim, and that's why I say y'all gotta chop it up with them and get the whole story, because they're gonna be able to tell you the truth from the black perspective, straight no chase. They got nothing to lie about, because it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Whatever happened. You can't change. They're trying to change the past, and because past is predicated on memory, we got to get it. You know what I'm saying? You got to get it while it's hot. Man, what I would love, one thing that you have to do if you have not done this, and you got to do it and go through there and really absorb it all, is the Black History Museum in Washington. Now, mind you, I'm sure there are a lot of things that aren't in there, but when I went through, there was a lot of stuff. There has been a lot of stuff. That's dope, Tasha. Y'all have to do that. It's necessary. It's necessary that we document those things, but the changes that we need to make aren't for just us. They're for Africa. You know what I'm saying? And when I hear about the stories of what's going on in Africa, you say to yourself, what's going on with our successful Black people here that they aren't doing things in Africa? Instead of, the Bentleys and all the craziness that people spend their money on here, Chinese people are buying up land. Yeah, I bet that museum is emotional. Can't change the truth. Hold down the narrative. Exactly. Real talk. Brown, you're absolutely right. But we got to get it, and then we got to we got to educate. So the fact that this movie came out in 2018 and we still talking, and that we're just now talking about this. So if we went by, you went off logic, we're 4 years behind the information in the Black community. This documentary came out in 2018, and it's ridiculously powerful. But it's never too late to make the adjustments. Now, the adjustments may be harder because it took so much longer, but the adjustments have to be made. So here we are sitting in a situation where we have so many, and this is where we got to commission these people. Not only these churches, we got to commission these actors and entertainers and sports figures. Hey man, we need y'all to go over to Africa and buy the land. You know what I'm saying? Be just as diligent as China is. Why? Because the resources over there are so crazy that everybody's got their hand in Africa except for Africans. Red Baby says, my uncle talks about being in the army and couldn't go in certain places, but fighting in a war. And that was those were the obvious discrepancies that people had that just didn't never make sense. How can I offer my life for you and you won't even offer up a cold glass of water if I walk through the front door? It's one of those things that, I want y'all to know that you're going to always hear somebody tell you, especially the people that have gone to Africa, they're going to tell you they lied about Africa. What are you taught about Africa when you grow up? Nothing but poverty and all this lions and bears and all that kind of stuff, and that the people are more tribal than they are educated and the land is underdeveloped. But what you see and hear people talk about, I had a homeboy named H that was over there for quite a while. And he was like, bro, you got to get over here, man. He's like, yo, they totally lied. Everything you think you know about this place is off. You got to come over here and see what's going on because it's amazing. And I think that's something that I think it should be, you know how these schools schedule these field trips and all that? I just think it's something that they need to do earlier, because the longer you have with the knowledge, the more you can do with it. I should leave right now after that. I can leave right now. The longer you have with knowledge, the more you can do with it. That's right. Tarzan was our education fact. You know what I'm saying? We used Tarzan and Here with the Monkeys and all that kind of stuff, and that's not it. The more you have with knowledge, the more you can do with it. The sooner you get the knowledge, the sooner you can do something with it. What up, Yakini? What up, Queen? Listen, do y'all hear what I just said? The earlier you learn something, the longer you have to make it effective. That's why in my mind it'd be like, yo, you got to teach these kids, these field trips need to happen where they get to go to Africa. These conversations about finance in America need to happen with these kids so they know how to use their money, so they know how to navigate. Like, these are the things that are what I think that's how we need to, I think as Black people in America, African Americans in America need to start looking at things like, what aren't we learning at an early age? There's no way we should be continuously talking about finances when we don't talk to the youth about it. The youth have no programs talking about it. And we try to pawn it off on the fact that they don't have the resources. Well, you don't have to have the resources to understand something. You just have to have the ability and the opportunity to understand it. Hell, we all grew up playing Monopoly. We're not learning anything about the winning life skills, Tashi. We're learning about life skills. Some of them are hard knock life, but we're not learning about the skills it takes to excel in something that is continuous rhetoric. It go a step further than that. Bastar says, truth, it's nice to give toys, but include a book about resources. I think that you have to start the repetition that it takes for them to have a deep-seated understanding of finance, of Africa, of their roots. It has to be repeated just as much as they're competing with the repetition that they're being taught in school. There's a program out there. I'm sure you all have seen them pop up before. It's called Kumon, Kumon. It's a learning program and it's a learning system from India. Have anybody, if any of you are familiar with it, raise your hand or let me know that you are familiar with it. Yep, business and financial wealth, not just doing business and just doing it. Any of you, okay, Tasha, you seen it? Bastar, you seen it? Anybody else seen these Kumon centers that have been popping up recently over the last maybe 6 years? Well, what they are, right, is they're learning centers where kids go for after school tutorials to get ahead. And the way they teach is they teach by repetition. Like these kids will do the same lessons for about 3 to 4 weeks until it's deep seated in them, and then they elevate to the next one. That's what has to happen when it comes to the education over finance and business, and then over our history. Okay, it's been out more than 15 years. Okay. Why NBA over there scouting young wills for the league? Powerful people. Well, when it comes to athletics, Brown, everybody is trying to figure out what the formula is and why we're so good at it. They're praying that we don't venture off into those just white sports. And so that's why you have the Winter Olympics. Why? Because black folks are not, we don't do cold. That's why water sports don't include a lot of black folks, because we just swimming ain't our thing. You know what I'm saying? Should we ever jump into the arena, I'm sure we're going to break records. But for all the other skill sets, I'm just saying, for all the other skill sets, we're not acclimated to those things. You know what I'm saying? Like the weather and conditions we're very adverse to getting into those things. But the education has to start, and it has to be intentional. You have to start allowing them to start the processes earlier. When you go to the bank, they should be that's something different too, Brown. I've done it before. I'm pretty good at it as well. But you got to take your kids and introduce them to the banking system and start getting them used to understanding what happens is kids don't know value. And that's become more prominent over the past 10 years, is that the younger people don't know value right now. Kids don't know what it costs to do this or do that, nor the value that's associated with it. They don't know the value of what $1 is. So they don't understand why they should be working towards it. Letitia said, yes, we went to West Africa, was sitting in a raggedy taxi like on Ghost at a red light, and up pulls a Benz they show, and they tell what they want. Africa is very wealthy. Yeah, Africa is very wealthy. There are a lot of wealthy people there. The same problems that we have in America, they parallel in Africa in terms of division. Africa as a whole country, undivided, could be, it's a country. I mean, continent. Like, that's the crazy part, is like Africa is a whole continent on its own. It's a whole continent. And people communicate about Africa like it's a city. Not even like it's a state. They talk about different parts of it, not like they have states, but like cities. These are whole countries inside of a huge continent. Like, do you know that? Like, we don't even talk about Africa like it's the big continent that it is. You all have seen the video where they've made the continent smaller. Like, on the map, they make Africa look smaller than the other countries, when it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest. There's a reason for that. Perception is everything. What you think, you believe. If you believe that it's a starving country, if you believe it's, if you believe that it's impoverished or whatever, if you believe it's disease ridden, in some places I'm sure it is. And if y'all don't understand, that's part of the grand scheme of things as well. So I was watching this video, and what they said was, what's up, Denise? What they said was they do this. One of the 48 laws of power, if I wanted to come to a country and take over the country, or if I wanted to invest in the country, what do? You devalue it. You undermine the country and its resources. You downplay the resources value, but you also try to stop the processes and those things. And then the value of it goes down. And what does that mean when the value goes down? It allows people to come in and purchase it at this lower price, and then continue what was happening before then with the knowledge that they're going to gain from it. So there are sectors of Africa that are being torn down, that are being shut down, that are being said are horrible places to be. But that's just so other people can come in and buy it at a lower rate and then build it back up. We've seen, listen, gentrification happens everywhere. It's one of the richest continents with diamonds and other minerals. You're absolutely right. I love the truth, and I'm not even African. That's what's up, Twindo. That's the thing, is they shut it down, so that they, like, right now, and we've been hearing about this, but China is investing in buying property in America right now. And so there's an uproar about that. But China has been doing that in Africa for some time. And if y'all saw the videos, of African workers getting rid of the Chinese people over there. They've been fighting them. They've been getting them off their land, getting them out of the country, because it's starting to become clear what's happening is that he who controls the food can control the country. Why do you think Bill Gates is so invested in buying up this farmland and producing food? And they try to push their will on you with the food by creating these not meat joints. Y'all heard of it, not real, it's called off meat and all these different names they got for this whack, not really meat. Because they're trying to be able to manufacture things, knowing that the manufacturing of these not meats and all these different things are going to be said that they're healthy on the forefront, but your body is not accustomed to that whack stuff. That's not accustomed to that. That's right. 4 people invest in 4 corners of the continent. Each investor has 5 people to rebuild. The objective is to, y'all seen Monopoly, right? Monopoly is about, it's not just about buying the best land, because there are people who've had Park Place and Boardwalk on Monopoly and still lose the game. Impossible Meat and Beyond Meat. That's it. Yeah. There are people who are on Monopoly that don't have the best property, but they have built it up. That's what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to get in a position where we don't have to have the best starting out, and that's never been our MO. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the things that we got to bank on is our resilience as people. You know what I mean? Yeah. And as they should, Tashi, you know what I'm saying, that they're putting that craziness out there. It should bother you. because you know it's not healthy. There's nothing healthy about it. There's nothing beneficial to the body about it. Unless they're making foods out of strictly plants, you know what I'm saying? Then it's not meat. There's no way you should even associate the word meat with something that has nothing to do with meat. Just keep it real, veggie burger, and keep it moving. I mean, they have a big thing with, but again, what you have to realize is they're not preying on the knowledge of the people. They're preying on the psychology of the people. Like, these are all psychological attacks. You know what I'm saying? This is all psychological. And that's a very euphoric statement, Tashi. We have to start building and be okay with coming together. That has years of undoing that have to happen with that. There's so much deep-seated envy, jealousy, crab in a barrel mentality, distrust, respect. All those things got to be overcome. And here's the problem. Everybody, I think that our approach needs to be different. I think instead of saying we need everybody to do something, I think we just need the people who get it to do it. Like, I don't care about everybody doing it anymore. The way you create a wave is you get a group of people to do it who make a splash together, and then the possibility will do it. The possibility of other people getting involved will do it. Letitia says, if you've never been, every black should save and go visit. You will not want to come back. They're not all dark skinned. There's so many light skinned as well. I'm sure, like, the diversity in complexion over in Africa is crazy because the African woman is the only woman who can produce all shades of human beings, from white to the darkest black. Like, they can the black woman is the only one who can produce all the shades of the spectrum. Brown says cows, horses, etc. eat grain and grass all day. They are healthy as hell. True story. And yes, Tashi, Tashi, if you ever wondered, and if anybody ever wondered, for that matter of fact, Tashi says we are the dominant gene. If anybody ever wondered why we get attacked so much, why we're always on our heels, is because if we ever get our balance, we may do exactly what Dr. Fred Price said, which is we may go on the attack. That is the biggest fear of all of these countries. You know, y'all do know that there is no huge army for the country of Africa, like there's a huge army for China, like there's a huge army for Russia, like there's a huge army for America. Africa does not have a whole army. Yeah, that's what I mean, Bastara. Like, so I started off this conversation saying how you can't be afraid to make the moves you got to make. You can't be waiting on people. We are always waiting as a collective group. We're always waiting on people. Africa is a continent. You know what I mean? Africa is a continent, Tavis. And that's why we get attacked. Yep. We are not a people violence, like we just want fairness. No, Tashi. We are and have the capability of being violent because we're strong. You know what I'm saying? We are people. We are about that. Historically, we have been about that. We have been protectors. We have been the security. We have been the warriors. That is collectively who we are. That's why they've been psychologically removing us from that all this time. That's why you see all this desensitization on TV, on your computers and stuff. This is why they show the police beating down black people, because they want you to feel as though you're inferior to that. We ain't peaceful people. We are not peaceful people. Yes and no. What I'm saying is, historically, we don't play those games. Like, you come at us and we come 10 times harder. We have been we have been psychologically beat down into this submissiveness that we've been showing. We have been a very submissive group of people. This was Dr. Fred Price's statement, is that every group of people out there that has attacked America has been rewarded for it. You understand? When Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, we gave the Japanese people who lived here 20 grand. We just got through donating a lot of money to the Ukraine. Wow, that's crazy. Do y'all understand that? That we are donating to the same people who don't. The United States is donating to everybody but the American Negro and the black. The reason why is because we've never stood up to those people. We've never really planted our feet and said, we ain't going for that. Can you imagine what the resolve would have been like had that January 6th event that happened on the Capitol steps, what it never would have got there. Think about this, y'all. This is how weak they think we are. This is how I can't even say that. What up, Mary? I want to say this is how the hypocrisy of it is. When they did the Million Man March, does anybody remember how much security was on deck? Does anyone remember how secure DC was? It was ridiculous. Like, it was ridiculous. There are pictures out there now of well-dressed black men all in suits and whatnot, and then all you see is military. And then you have this event that they swear, listen, as much as y'all, this is why y'all can't believe everything y'all, you can't believe everything, and y'all should use some logic. When has the Alphabet Boys never not known when something was going on that's huge? Meaning the recklessness of all those backwood country white folks that was talking about this event. You mean it didn't come across none of y'all radar at the FBI? None of y'all? When y'all saw all these white people getting off the boats, off the buses and trains and flying in, that didn't ring a bell? Like, oh my God, today we got a whole influx of people coming from rural America. You know what I mean? Exactly, Brown. We here, we seem to be domesticated on the outside, but there's have a safe flight, Sonny. There are loads of people who have this. Especially black men, we have this thing that's stirred up inside of us, and it's kind of like if you ever watch Madagascar, when the lion, it's the episode where the lion goes back to Africa, and and they're looking at him like, why are you so chill? Like, that's not even our nature. Our nature isn't to receive like that. We don't move like everybody else, yet we're moving like everybody else. And I know a lot of that comes with not having an identity. Like, we are fish out of our ponds right now. We are in another lake, in another stream. And this is why, you always hear those people who have gone back to Africa to say, yo, you got to go and at least give yourself the option. And then don't expect Africa to be like America, which is what I think a lot of people, the problem is you think that Africa should be like America versus Africa is still something that you have to design and build and cultivate, which, is something that we haven't known here. It's almost like saying this. It's almost like becoming an adult. Yeah, I think Africa is the ascension from American life to becoming an adult, meaning we as a community of people have been giving us a lot of things to lull us into acceptance. We accept a lot of the bull crap, man. All this police brutality, all this, welfare system, all this, disparity in education, we accept and roll with all those punches. We are so okay with all that. That's right. That's exactly right, Bastar. He said when the lion realized where he was and who he was, his truth became revealed and the cloth was removed. But we're so tolerant. We've been taken care of here in America. So that's why people don't really want to go to Africa, because it's going to require work. It's going to require readjusting. It's going to be some uncomfortability. We're too comfortable. We're too comfortable, man. We're okay with a lot of the bull crap because we're comfortable in other aspects of our lives. This would be the only reason why I would assume, there shouldn't be an NBA player, a black NBA player. There shouldn't be a black NFL player that doesn't own a property in Africa. I'm sorry, but that to me seems, if your dollar is worth more in Africa, there's no reason why those people who spend upwards of $100,000 on jewelry from Jewish diamond miners just don't go to Africa and get the jewels themselves. That's where the diamonds are coming from. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're so lazy. Like, they got us figured out. Yep. But Bastar, we're comfortable because stuff is given just enough to quiet us. You know what? The American black person is, the African American is should walk around with pacifiers on their shirts just so they understand what's going on. If how to pacify people was a meme, it looked like us. I wonder what it would be like if we did the Million Man March again. I mean, it'd be the same to some degree. I don't think that's effective. You know what I mean? I don't think a Black Million Man March is effective. I'm gonna be honest with you. That just means we all collectively know how to walk. Doesn't prove nor change anything. Why don't we do something like $1 billion divestment? If you got 1 million men and each man gave what is it, $100 or 10? Is it $100 or $10? If a million men gave $1, it's $1 million. 10. So $1,000. What up, Venus? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think a march. I think we got it all twisted. Imagine if that 1 million men were able to contribute $1,000. 1 million men contributing $1,000. We're at $1 billion. What do you think we could do with $1 billion in Africa? What can we set up? And that's why I said, Tashi, that's why I keep proposing. I said at least February, but shoot, people need to be starting now. I need to redo that video. I said February, Black History Month, to buy black all month. But shoot, we need to be doing that right now. People need to be, it's $1 billion. If 1 million spend 1,000, right? It's $1 billion. Am I tripping? 1 million, 3 zeros is $1 billion, yeah. Yeah, so that's the part that I want people to recognize, Tashi, is that the dollar is what makes the difference. The dollar makes the difference. That should be the slogan. Anytime you want to change to happen in America, the dollar makes the difference. The dollar is the only thing that changes things. So if you're not looking at, if you want real effective change, then you got to start the dollar. And that is kind of what Colin Kaepernick was like. You know what I mean? But Star is funny. Yeah, buy black and not ask for a discount. Yeah, because the education that I gave them an education on that, Bastar. I gave them an education that helped them understand that these independent businesses don't get the breaks that big box stores get. So they got to pay whole price. They got to pay full price for things that these box stores get discounts at because they're able to buy them in bulk and whatnot. And so if they got to pay full price for them, then they're going to have to charge a higher rate for you to buy them. That's just the math education about it. That's just another slap in the face of the difference of what's going on in when it comes to finance. We don't get those kind of financial breaks. So if we don't get those kind of financial breaks, we can't give those financial breaks out to the community. Now, don't get mad. Just understand the plight that these business owners have in America. They don't get grants. They don't get the discounts. They don't get any of those opportunities. These people very rarely want to sell to black communities because they try to fight and go in and try to get the cost reduced. If y'all don't think that these black entrepreneurs aren't trying to, what up, Trina, aren't trying to get the finances of what they have to spend down lower so that they can lower the price and compete a little bit more, y'all are tripping. Every chance they get with these vendors, they're saying, hey, can I get a discount? Can I get a discount? Can I get a discount? And then those vendors are saying, yeah, you can get a discount, but you got to spend $100,000. You got to spend $10,000 more than what you already have. You got to up the ante. And they're like, yo, I can't up the ante because a lot of people that should be rocking with me ain't rocking with me the way that they should be rocking with me. So I don't even have the income to offset the cost that you're putting down on me. So I'll just buy the minimum and I'll keep the prices where I got to keep them in order for me to at least keep my head above water. Now, that's the explanation that people should understand. It should go without explaining. Yo, I can't pass on no deals to you because I ain't getting no deals. But Brown, in order to do that, this is what I'm talking about. There has to be a certain level of understanding. Like, we don't want to understand each other's plight. We don't look to be empathetic. We look to say, what's in it for me? And they want instant gratification for it. They want an instant result. You can't say to somebody, listen, man, I tell you, the more you order from me, eventually I'll be able to bring the price down. But I got to get 100 of yous. I gotta get 100 people like you to help me get the cost down. Can you help me recruit some other people? Can you tell some people how dope my product is? Can you tell people why they should buy here and why? And that's why in the month of February, we may be able to set that up. In the month of February, collectively, we'll make an impact by everybody doing that. And it'll give the entrepreneurs an opportunity to see what it looks like to flourish way beyond their means than they ever have in one complete month, and then gives them an opportunity to leverage it. Now, my other hope is that once you start doing this, once you start practicing spending your dollar in the community that it matters the most to you, that you will continuously do so after the fact. Now, remember, for some reason, we as black people have begun to act very sensitive. We act so sensitive. Some people get upset about the way somebody communicates to them at the business. Some people get mad about other little sensitive stuff. Y'all have done more for less with other stores at other times. There hasn't been a year that goes by that you haven't stepped into some store, gas station, or retail store where somebody has treated you less than. If you have, and you can remember that, understand that they don't have a dog in your fight anyway, and that's why they don't care. And if you get that same attitude for people who got a dog in your fight, at least you say, I did my part. You still got to do your part. Even you still do your part for these other businesses that don't, invest. In matter of fact, they be trying to undermine, different things. Yep. Brown, when they did the boycott, that's what the boycott made a difference, because the bus boycott made a difference because they were losing money on transportation. Y'all know every time they lose money, they make a call to their governor. Y'all know that, right? They call the governor, and the governor calls the senator calls the president. Like they have a meeting. For instance, when Obama implemented the letting people out of jail for weed, there's a phone call, a recorded phone call from Alabama prisons, these private prisons, calling saying, hey man, we need some help. We're gonna have to shut down our prisons now that all these low crime people are being let out. We can't produce the business, because y'all do know that private prisons are businesses that manufacture. They're manufacturing businesses. If y'all don't know that, prisons are manufactured businesses that are worse than those slave laborers that they talk about over in these Asian countries. I mean, they're parallel to it. That $1 and some change that they pay those people over in Asia to make Nikes and Adidas and everything else is what they're doing when it comes to furniture and different things like that at the prison systems here. The difference is those people in Asia get to go home, although they're under horrible conditions, or although they move and act and have to live under horrible conditions. They are free people to do that, and they get a choice. They just don't have many choices. Here in America, that choice is taken away from you for small petty crimes. Isn't it crazy? Y'all ever think about this? And this is one of the things that bothers me most about our injustice system. There are people in jail right now who are waiting to prove their innocence. How crazy is that? They listen, even if they're not discounted, Bastar, they are what they are because they have to be what they have to be. For a black economist to make money, and to be successful after not getting the financial breaks that other people are getting, they gotta do that. But our justice system is so unjust that there are people who are waiting their turn to be proven innocent. There are innocent people sitting in jail right now. Innocent people waiting to say, wasn't me, and for DNA to prove it wasn't, and the most precious commodity they can never get back, which is their time. Time is the greatest commodity that we have. What we do with it is everything. We can spend it complaining, or we can spend it changing things. Now, change costs. Change costs time, it costs effort, and it costs sacrifice. That is the building block of change. If you can accept that those things are a part of it, then you can effectively do it. If you can understand you're going to be uncomfortable, if you can understand that it's going to cost you more than what you anticipate, because you can never imagine what that result or what the backlash from that is going to be. You know what I mean? You don't know what the resistance to the change is going to be until you start changing things. Any of y'all feel uncomfortable? If you don't feel uncomfortable, then you're not changing nothing because you haven't met any resistance. It's mindset. Mindset is the greatest thing. I think that's what we talk about. You know, when we join this live and we get to communicating, that's mainly what we're talking about is mindset. You have to have a mindset adjustment and be intelligent enough to understand why you're doing it and then commit to it and be consistent at your mindset change. Nobody likes a willy-nilly, wish-washy person. Nobody. That's not beneficial for anybody. You have to be dependable. Like, you have to be dependable, not only in your mindset, but your actions. You have to be dependable. And we know that that's one of the greatest challenges within our community is being able to be dependent on one another. Most people can't call nobody up and say, hey man, I'm going through something. I need $500. Most people can't do that. Unfortunately, we don't trust they're going to give it back. We don't trust that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's being used for something genuine. We ask questions. Hey, what are you using it for? What do you need $500 for? I need you to convince me why I should do something that's morally, and that's because, we as a group of people have undermined that trust, and we continuously do it on a regular basis. And not saying that any other community doesn't, but I can't be concerned about other communities. Like, we got to get away from comparing ourselves to other people because ultimately you don't care what other people do. Like, realistically, you shouldn't. You should only care about what we do as a community and then look at how all those things affect each other. But instead, we always compare. well, white people don't do this, or Asian people don't do it. Like, I don't care what they do. We got to create our own normal so we can get things moving, but we don't have a consistent normal. And we don't admonish people when they step outside of the normal we're trying to create as a collective. Like we don't stop your nephew from selling weed or doing whatever, or selling drugs in the community. You don't stop them from out here hustling or whatever. You don't stop them from making bad decisions. Like we have to govern ourselves before we can expect others to stop governing us. Identity is a huge problem, Tashi. I agree. But you got to be somebody in this world, right? Like you got to be somebody. And I don't mind if you don't know who you are when you start. I do mind if you don't know where you are somewhere towards the somewhere near the beginning. I do mind that part. If you don't know where you are sooner than later, then you don't care to know. The conversation we be having is mainly, you know what I'm saying, a lot of us absolutely want to know that are in my lives. I know that a lot of you want to know and are looking towards that. That's again, I'm going to promote that book one more time, Hebrew to Negroes. Gotta watch it and read it. Well, they're trying to rebuild it, Lion, but the difference is what I want people to understand is you never want things to be the same as they used to be. I'm going to tell y'all to remove that from y'all conversation and y'all dialogue. Some of y'all are in relationships and you say, I just want things to go back the way they were. Similar to your comment, I would love to see Black Wall Street in today's time. I wouldn't, because it wouldn't be able to keep up. If anything, you say, I would love to see the concept of Black Wall Street, knowing what we know about what happened today. Meaning, Black Wall Street today, for me, would be those really dope shops and all that, but it also would come with its own security because we didn't protect it. Yeah, you don't loan money, but Star, you give money. You have to give it away and say, you may never come back, but I did the right thing by giving. But we should never, Black Wall Street should be used as a blueprint. And then the incident that happened as a result of back then should also play a role in how you protect it in the future. There's no way you create a Black Wall Street in Oklahoma again and you don't have Black Wall Street security by Black people. Yeah, they're rebuilding it right now. But what's the point of rebuilding? This is the problem I have is we tend to want things the way they were. We always say, I want things to go back to how they were. I don't. Because if they were good as they were then we have a problem because we did not protect it. So why do I want to go back to that unprotected state? We didn't value it then. So why do I want to go back to that? And why would I want to go back to something when I've learned the lesson of it and not want to improve it based off of that new understanding that I got? That's a challenge for me. I see and hear so many people saying, I just want things to go back the way they were. Really? Well, the way they were got you cheated on. Well, the way they were got you abused. Well, the way they were got you a divorce. Well, the way they were clearly didn't work out because it's not the way that it is. So consume that. I almost never have said that. Like, I don't want to go, I don't want things back the way they were. It has to be an improved state of being. That's the requirement. Yep. Letitia said that she didn't loan somebody some money and they said, let me hold it till things improve. But you got to remember, those people, you got to look at it like this here. Most people who are in those situations from bad decisions that they've collectively made on a regular basis. They've continuously made these bad decisions. So now you're going to complement their bad decisions by becoming a part of another bad decision. If you don't move out of the way and let them fall down hard enough to bump their head or whatever they got to do to get back up, and sometimes it's painful to watch, but sometimes you got to let that happen. Build the protections and boundaries, make it stronger than before, improve it. Exactly, Brown. Exactly. Life is forward moving, build differently, move differently. And you move, Tashi, based off of the historical past that you've had. If you know something didn't work before, don't include that in the program as you're building. Red Baby said, my dad said, never give someone money if you need it yourself because you may not get it back. True story. True story. That's why but that's the other part, right? We are all supposed to be living so abundantly that you are in a position to loan something. You are supposed to be a conduit to somebody's success, some kind of way. Meaning, if you're not building people up to do and be better, then there's something wrong. You know what I'm saying? I want to, good morning, Lola. I always said, so when I'm creating and I'm working with these people, I told them I create for several reasons. One, I don't ever want to have to take my credit card out when we go out to eat. If I've made you $1 million, if I've made you a millionaire, I don't ever want to have to pull my wallet out for anything. Because the time and energy and investment I've made into you should warrant you saying, nah, man, I got this. You done enough. I should be able to say at some point, if I helped you in your career so abundantly that without hesitation, I can say, yo, man, if I made you $100 million, I should be able to say, yo, I need to borrow like $1 million. And it'd be nothing to you. But the empowering part, what up, Joetta? The empowering part is being that conduit to the success that other people are having in such a way that reciprocation is easy. You know what I mean? It should be easy. It should be easy. But again, I don't want to talk about what we don't do because we really need to focus on what we do involve ourselves in and then how to improve and expand that. A lot of conversations about us as a community are we bash ourselves, right? We're not doing it all wrong, but there's so much we can do better, and we just need to focus on improving our relationships with one another, to be honest enough to say, I can't loan you this money right now. And to be honest and say, you know what? And based off of your historical past, it'd be very challenging for me to loan you this money. Until you clear up your behavior and get your credit good in terms of credit with loans, like you're going to have to take that risk with somebody else. Like we got to be honest in our conversation with one another. Hey, you know what? I do think you're attractive, but just the space and place that you're in right now, you don't need me as a distraction. Now, if there's some way I can help you conversationally, or if there's something that I may help you elevate to a place where you're going to be more successful, not only in your personal, but your financial life or your spiritual life, whatever, then cool, I'm with it. But for the most part, I can't get in the way. A lot of times we involve ourselves in things that we're not qualified to be involved in. Relationships being the main thing. Like we are so ready to jump into a relationship with people and be so unprepared to do it. And be so unprepared for it to be a success. We jump into relationships while still being involved with other people. We got our hands full, yet we're still trying to grab other stuff. Like the honesty it takes for us to be successful is a hard truth for most people. And you owe yourself and them that kind of honesty. How can we ever hope to have the breakthroughs that we want when we're lying to ourselves and those around us? How can we have the success that we want when we're not even making the basic decisions it takes to have the breakthroughs? True story, Red. Red says sometimes we get in relationships and we aren't even aware we shouldn't be in one. I say the inverse, though. I say people are very aware of the trauma that they're still dealing with and choose to railroad that for selfish reasons. And don't leave, when toxic or we see red flags. There's so many people who drive over them red flags that don't make no sense. Be true to self, self-love, self-care. Yep. Bestara. Yep. Need black-owned banks, pro athletes donate funds, stop giving that tax money to white. Yeah, true story, Brown. But again, Brown, if I go back and I pull back the layer as to why that isn't happening, it will all lend itself back to trust. They have put us in a position where black folks don't trust black folks. And if you don't trust each other, you're very likely to avoid one another. You don't want to be around people that are untrustworthy. You don't want to be a victim of their untrustworthiness, but you don't want to be guilty by association either. So we have to find different ways to rebuild the trust. You know, we got to find different ways to do that, even in relationships. You know, as you date and all those kind of things. Stop looking for the traditional ways for people to show you they trust or why you should trust them. Step outside of that and dig deeper into their comfort zone of trust. You know what I mean? Yeah. Trust is the biggest issue that we have in our community. We don't trust nobody. We don't trust anybody. And rightfully so, because historically we've been known to throw each other under the bus. Exactly. So Brown, that was the point to do it. And we can do better, Red. We can Lola, we can do better. But it's going to take those of us, again, we can't wait on everybody else to do better. We have to do it, and then we have to say respectfully, in order to be involved with me in any way, shape, or form, you have to do better. And what happens is their circle of people that they could be around starts getting so small that they say, I got to do something different. Thinking they can change that person in a relationship. Yep, that don't happen. No trust, and most don't even understand financially once they make millions. They don't. It takes a lot for us to trust. It absolutely does. And that's why that's the greatest challenge, is because trusting is one of the most vulnerable things you're going to do in your life. Some things are automatic, though. Like you trust that when you get in your car, it's going to function and work and whatnot. You trust that when you get on a plane, it's going to take you to and from your destination without any problems. But the human trust that we have to have with one another isn't built off of those stable things. It's built off the ability for someone to become untrustworthy in the flick of a switch. In a moment's notice, somebody can become untrustworthy to the pain point of your life being at stake. And it's one of the most, and like I said, it's one of the most vulnerable places you're ever going to be in, is to trust somebody. And everybody isn't trustworthy. Now imagine playing that game. I liken it to a conversation I heard the other day where the guy said, if somebody told you out of every 10 lions, 3 of them are nice, are you going to watch those 10 lions run after you and then try to figure out which one of them are the 3? Or are you going to take off running and try to and be like, I'm cool? Yeah. We've been thrown in rivers, train tracks from others, yet still buy from retail. Yep. We need our own financial planner to show the ropes. Yes, we do. And because we're so different, we need it tailored to how we as a people move and what some of the goals. Our goals aren't the same as other ethnicities in this world. And at some point we got to accept that, and that will help us move differently. But we keep trying to do what everybody else is doing. We're guilty by looking at, I'm just saying, Brown, you know what I'm saying? Like, you make a choice. Are you going to run from the lions, or are you going to be trying to find the 3 to pet? But yeah, we absolutely need one that's going to help us focus on the needs of our community. Instead of, we're building other people's castles right now. We're building everyone else's 401k plan. We're sending other people's kids to college. You know what I'm saying? We are buying the success. We are paying for the success that others are having outside of our community. So there's not much to be said about that. There's much to be done, but there's not much to be said about it. But we're high investors. We invest the most. Like they tell you, we are some of the We are the biggest consumers, meaning we're the biggest locusts out there. We're the ones who chomping up everything and paying them to do it. Financial plan, keeping up with the Jones, not knowing the Jones are getting. I mean, again, if we just focus on us, Bastara, I ain't never worried about what everybody else is doing. Like I've never been that dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm that dude. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all exactly how I move. When I go to places and I be like, I step up to the line at the airport and I'd be like, yo, you know, if you can upgrade me, da da da. And they'd be like, well, if I upgrade you, you know, I gotta upgrade everybody else, da da da. I said, no, you don't. I said, this conversation is an intimate conversation between you and I. This is an exchange just between the two of us. If no one else knows that we're having this conversation and they don't have the wherewithal to communicate with you the way that I'm communicating with you about an upgrade, then it should only just stay an exchange between you and I, and we don't have to worry about anybody else burdening you with the offer that you're about to present to me. And usually I get upgraded once I have that conversation. I'm quick to say to somebody, I am a singular person in the grand scheme of what you see in front of you. I am not negotiating on the behalf of everybody else, because everybody else doesn't have the same wherewithal that I have, you know? So I don't care what everybody else is doing, because everybody else doesn't get it. And again, that's where we all have to understand you're commissioned to move in such a way that you have to be an example in your teaching versus teaching without being an example. You have to be the example first. You got to show me how you can rob the bank by robbing the bank before you can teach me how to rob the bank that you've never robbed before. You have to be the example. So when we talk about our communities aren't doing this and people don't know this, then we got to take onus that maybe we aren't showing them the way. Most of the problems in our community are about self-accountability. We can do this all day. We do this all day. We point at everybody. You, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. We don't, da 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 da. But we don't say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And if I do this effectively enough, somebody else will see me. Apple cider vinegar drink, you all have been drinking it consistently. I would dare to say that each one of you has been asked, what are you doing different? Because people are seeing seeing the changes in you and your body. They're seeing the physical change. So you're being the example. As long as you're being the example, you got to remember people are always watching you. They're watching you in your comings and your goings. They're watching you in your presence and your absence. What up, DJ Dub? Lola, it's not a requirement for them to share. We would like for people to share, but it's not a requirement, right? What is a requirement is that you do you to the fullest so everybody can see it, and you won't have to worry about sharing because you can see it. Now, if you're curious about it, once you can see it, then I would tell you to ask about it. Now, most people who are doing the damn thing really don't have time to talk about it because you're doing the damn thing. You ever heard that? You know what I'm saying? You ever heard that, like, if you're moving, and you don't have time to stop and tell somebody about it, you got to say, come on with me while I'm moving if you really plan on moving. Don't be at a standstill asking somebody how they doing something. Be moving when they moving so you can catch the flow and you don't stop their flow. Letitia says, a little off, about some white girls getting with black guys and they try to talk like us, even be like, we will have that conversation. I'm gonna introduce it to the live so y'all can understand it and y'all can bring it back up at some point. But Letitia says, a little off subject, how do you feel about some white girls getting with black dudes and then try to talk like us and even be like us, and then they respond, I'm white on the outside but black on the inside? We're gonna have to hold that conversation because that's a longer conversation. All right, welcome back, Laron. That's a longer conversation, y'all, honestly. As far as culture appropriation and all that kind of stuff, that's a whole nother conversation. But it's a beneficial conversation nonetheless, because here's the thing. If we're going to have a change, and yeah, I know, right? If we're going to have a change, Lola said that's 2 shows, baby. If we're going to have a change in America, then one thing you have to remember is it's not our America. This ain't our America. So if you're trying to have a change within America, you're going to need the help of the people whose America it is. Tashi said, don't get me started. That's why I say it's a whole nother show. That's why I say it's a whole nother conversation. We can't do that today. So when I say to you, this is not our America that way, meaning we're not the majority here, how can the minority make the majority decision when the minority isn't even in the position of the minorist minority? Meaning, if Jewish people haven't told you one thing, is that you could be small and powerful. Jewish people are small, but they are powerful because they have the resources to affect change. Black people are small in this huge America, 13% of the population, but we don't have any of the wealth to make change. We don't own anything and we don't produce anything. Dr. Claude Anderson said those things. We don't produce anything to offer to this America other than the sweat equity off of our backs. And if you want to be honest, you can get that anywhere. What is it that we're going to bring to the table that we can own and proprietize as ours and collectively begin to build wealth as a part of it? No, I got it right here. I ain't drinking Drink. I'm about to drink it. I haven't drank it yet. I'm going to drink it now. Now, what time is it? I'm going to drink it at 11. But that's the thing that to be considered is you can be small but powerful. We're small, physically we're powerful, but in the grand scheme of things, when we talk about being physically powerful, that means you have to actively be places in order to show people your physical strength. Brown, this is my apple cider vinegar drink. And that's what I'm trying to get at with the with the Black History Month thing, Bastar, is dedicating a month, not only just Black people. I hope people understand this. I'm not saying just Black people spend on Black people in Black History Month. I'm saying everybody spend Black. Now, imagine this. Imagine how the economy pays attention if all the Black people, we can't worry about what we listen, Tashi, we can't go back and it's like having an old conversation. It's almost like we can't fight the fight now that it's over. You know what I mean? Tashi said, sadly, if we got the real credit of what we have done, maybe life will be different. We can't, right now, Tashi, somebody could roll out 1,000 of the accomplishments that Black people had in this America, and they will all have been things of the past, and that will be, and then it'll be over with. DJ Dub says, question, do white people ever earn what we call a black card, and can it be taken away? That's another conversation, and I think that we're going to have that one. Let's definitely write that one down. And no, white people can't earn a black card, but I will explain. I mean, we can get into that because I have a conversation associated with why we accept certain, why our self-esteem as Black people is so low that we'll accept any nationality that embraces our culture and we'll pull them in. We're such a empathetic people that way, and we understand that the plight that those people who do, quote unquote, or are capable of earning a black card are going to receive ridicule from their own people on the other side. So we embrace those hurt people that want to do that. So that's a whole nother conversation too, though. Damn, if we only did black, it'd be powerful. I know that, and that's what I'm trying to, Lola, I would love for the world to experience black power. Like when we talk about black power, that's black power. Black power doesn't lie in our melanin in our skin. Black power is unified power. It shows that they can, as a community, we can come together and affect real change. And in this world, globally, financial disruption is power. We create, but go to them to invest in the stolen. Tashi, we're black. Listen, I've said this many times. We're renting a room in someone else's house. That means anything that happens, any money if you ride in my car, any money that fall out of your pocket and hit the floor is mine. Sorry. Because I own the car. You left it in there. It's mine now. They'll tell you at these companies, any idea you come up with while you're at that company is the properties of the company. They tell y'all that. It's in the contract somewhere, I'm sure. If you work at a creative entity, anything you say or do within the confines of my system is mine. So that's what they say about this America. Anything that you do in this America, it's America's, it's ours. We can have that. That could be part of the conversation as well. Red Fox says, how about black people that don't get the black card for not being black enough? That's a whole nother thing. And I love the conversation about what people deem is black and isn't black, because outside in our community, we're all black to the rest of the world. Music, Brown says, music, sports, food, education, absolutely. We need our own house. That part. And we do have our own house, Lola, but we don't want to live there. That's Africa. Africa is our house. Africa is our birthright. It's our house. I sometimes think about, if we stayed segregated, how better would we be? I think about that on a regular basis, Taoshi, because there was so much to be said about the black family and the black community looking after one another, that when we took our hands off the wheel, somebody else started driving it and they drove it down a desolate place. I think about it often. And again, we're not the only ones who thought about segregation that way. The reason why they did desegregate is because they felt like they could win the war by division. All things lead back to division. It leads back to math, subtracting, adding, multiplying, or dividing. That is life. Life is all math. And what we have found is division in itself is what? Breaking down something. Division is breaking down things. So if you want to disrupt something and break it down, you divide it. So when I'm talking about this spending black all the month of February, we are dividing the finances that would normally go out into the world, and we're adding it into one culture's system. Segregation didn't solve anything and made it bad for the black community. I'll just be honest. We got to have a conversation on the black and white card. Yep. So y'all make sure y'all remember this stuff too. If there was a case that everyone went to Africa, many people would lose too much money. You have to lose in order to gain sometimes, Bastara. Sometimes for the mistakes we made, or for the position we were put into, you're going to have to give up something to get something that's more worth it. We want to hold on to all this stuff that we've acquired here and are afraid to say, well, we'll give some of it back because I'm going to go build and multiply even more somewhere else. You got to realize that's what it is. Some of y'all got to give up relationships that y'all know don't work in order for you to get into something that will work. And you can't take everything from that relationship with you. You got to leave some behind. Tashi said, segregation ended, we became more divided as a unit. That's what it was. That's what it was. Desegregate. Segregate means to come together. Desegregate means to take apart. We're not paying attention to the words. They saying it right in front of us. Yeah. Yep. Africa has everything you need. You just got to go over there and start building it. And we all got to go and visit first and then figure it out. A new day, new blessings. What's up, Everett? Why not start buying black now? I did say, and that was what I wanted to go back and say, Maya, is that yes, we should start buying black right now. And I know, and I said I'm going to go back and, what up, Keith? I said I'm going to go back and amend that conversation but it seems, this is what I wanted to first do, Mia. I wanted to get everybody wrapped around the idea of doing it first and foremost, giving you a landmark. You know what I'm saying? Giving you a time and place where you can do it effectively. But I said on the way to that, you should be discovering these places now and starting to do that practice. But I got to be more, I'm going to be more explicit when I say, hey, I know y'all heard me say Black History Month is the month to set it off. Leading up to that, these companies and these brands and these black places should, black store owners and retailers should feel the impact of you adjusting to it. So before there's a tornado, you get signs that a tornado is coming, and that's what needs to happen. I think there's more factors that made us more divided as well. That was one of the hugest ones, though. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the hugest ones. Was desegregation. Yep, the rock song, keep them separated. It's all around us. Absolutely. Every last part of it is math. If we start looking at things from the numbers, I think we can start changing things. I think that we don't look at. I think we're so emotional that we don't look at the factual things. Like we're so emotional that we absolve ourselves from using logic, which the logic is what's going to get us the breakthrough that we want and need. We talked about that, Lola. I think it's a miseducation, Lola. I think that what you don't have is the conversation I had maybe 15, 20 minutes ago about why the prices in the Black community are different than the prices everywhere else. Like I think I said it plainly enough for whoever heard it to take it and kind of just blueprint it somewhere else for everybody else. I'll say it one more time so you guys can take it, regurgitate it, consume it, and regurgitate it. But this is it. Black companies can't afford a lower cost of goods because they aren't able to buy in bulk enough to get the cost low. So they have to pay a higher retail price, which in order to make a profit, they have to sell it at no less than a little bit above that retail price, as opposed to if you're a market has to buy individual things for an individual group for individual cost. But a Publix or a Kroger's can buy in bulk and they can afford for any of that stuff to go bad or spoil. So that's just the difference. You know what I'm saying? The gas being higher in the Black community has to do more with those individual franchisees, and they get admonished for it in some communities, but that's them price gouging. And then as a community, you have a choice whether to buy gas at that place or not. I think that if you guys are really invested in things like that, you should there's an app that I use called Upside. And it gives you a kickback on the gas. So every time I spend money for gas, I get a little bit of it back. Not a huge amount. I might spend $50 on gas and I'll see in return about $1.70 to $2. But that's more money than you guys are seeing when you don't use the app. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Everett, they are, but Everett, that's because they're trying to compete, right? A lot of these places will give the best foods to the places that are spending the most money, and then places that are spending the most money for the best foods can offer those up at a higher price. Like Publix costs more than Kroger's. Why? Publix is a more touted brand, but Whole Foods cost more than all of them. Why? Because there aren't as many Whole Foods, and Whole Foods tends to always have the better prices. Y'all seen these movies where these chefs will tell you they'll go down, these restaurants, they go to the market themselves and they spend a higher amount of money to get the better food, but they also charge it back to the community that they're serving to. You know what I mean? But if y'all aren't using Upside, I think that you're selling yourself short on. You should use coupons, Upside, and all those different things to get the kickbacks that you can get. You know what I'm saying? And manage your money for you should leave nothing on the table. Better way I can say it. Never leave anything on the table. Never leave anything on the table. Those coupons help. Being a part of that Kroger, using your alternate ID and all that stuff for Kroger's, using the Publix card, all those things. If you cared about your dollar, if you cared about your money, then you would be implementing all these things. I don't understand anybody who drives a vehicle that isn't using the app called Upside. I don't understand it. I don't understand. It's one of the simplest processes to do. If anybody needs my referral code, I'll give it to you. I'll put it on my Instagram or whatnot. But it's super simple. I don't go to a gas station that doesn't support Upside. Why? Because there are too many to go to for me to patronize a place that ain't gonna patronize me back in some kind of way. If we talk about this society and this world giving back, Upside is this app right here. Let me see if I can show you. It's on my most frequently used apps. It's this app right here. You see how it just popped up? It's got a map. It's showing me where everything is at. all the gas stations and food places. Right now, I can get 9 cents back on a $3.06 gallon of gas. So for every gallon, which my car does about 17 gallons, if you multiply 9 times 17 cents, you get about $1.63. Is that right? $1.63? No. I somewhere around there. If I'm doing the math right, it's about that much. If I do nine, yeah, about $1.63. You get a kickback on that. But it's easy to claim the offer. If I do, let me see what it says. There used to be a thing where I had a promo code to send to people or whatnot. For you to do it. I'll put it on, like I said, I'll put it on my Instagram some point today. I did it before, and I can tell when people have used it because it'll tell me, hey, you earned 7 cents. Like you get like a small amount for anybody that does it. You know what I'm saying? I can put it, I'm gonna put it on my YouTube right now. If you guys aren't on my YouTube, one of the cool things is that I can do this copy and paste thing, which I really like. Which I really like on here, where you can it says invite friends. So I'm gonna invite friends. No, I want to do the other way where I get the code. Okay, so here's the invite code. Let me see if I can airdrop it and then include it. So here's that Mac and here's that Mac. So it's gonna allow me to put the code on there. But yeah, you can use the code to download it as well. Let me see if it pops up somewhere. Okay, that one it popped up. Let me open it. It's in my downloads. But these are things that you guys should be using regularly, man. Downloads. Right there. Copy. I'm gonna put it right here. Paste. Let me see if I can put it there. Letitia said, "Oh my God, you're just like us." Let me see if that works. Let me see if that works right there. No, I don't think it's gonna work the proper way for you to do it. Okay, so let me copy all that. There it goes. Select all, copy, and then I can paste it. Let me see. V, nope. I ain't trying to do that one. I'm trying to paste it. Copy, or let me. I shared the invite. I don't know where that went, but anyway. There's supposed to be a way I can paste when I do that. Let me see if I can paste it here. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. So y'all got it here. It said 100. It's 150 of the alphabet that I'm using though. Let me see. So I got to go back. What it made me paste, it didn't. Let me copy this. Copy. Let me see. Let me return that. So that's the promo code right there that you can use, 2GME5, once you sign up. That's it. But there was another way I did it too. Let me see. Is that a better one? Is that a better link? Yeah, that's a better link. And let me see if I can do that over here too. Let me see. I got two computers in front of me, y'all. That's why it's a little challenging to do this. There we go. There you go, Laron. That's the better one right there. Do that. Let me hide all that. Hide. All right. So anyway, these are different things that like I said, if we're talking about finances and the little things you could do. Yeah, and Letitia says if you use it early in the morning hours, you get more back, which is always a dope thing to do. I'm glad you enjoyed it, 20. You know? Yep. Don't forget to use it. You leaving money on the table. We're not doing that. It's like Rakuten. Yep. I'm using e-bike, limit the use of vehicle. Yep. Start biking. Yep. I'm just scrolling up and look at your comment. For years on Saturday, the pilgrimage to the county for groceries by moms. Yep. Like, there are things that we can do, man, to offset the imbalance, but we need to start now. And that's like, I'll do a post today for my Instagram and then kind of do that. Scrap question. Number 2, how can so many blacks be pro-black, but yet they still... Okay, so again, we're gonna have to figure that conversation out on another. Somebody needs to be keeping track of. There's some great subjects that we need to touch on. DJ Dub has a great question here. This is question number 2 from him. He says, how can so many blacks be pro-black, but they still sleep and deal with the enemy? In those situations, part of it is going to be their definition of what they think pro-black is, because they will say that one thing offsets another. You know what I mean? What did she say up here? Hold on. It won't even let me scroll up. Will it? No. Dollars stay in a so-called Jewish community. I can't read the comment. I can't read that comment. But how, well, a lot of times in those situations, those people who are saying they're pro-black and still do those things. A majority of people have to deal with our white counterparts. I appreciate that. Thanks, Bastar. And I hope that we are, people are leaving and having an amazing weekend. I hope before y'all go, y'all like the page a whole bunch and share the page. I appreciate everybody, especially Olympian, for all the live gifts and whatnot that you've been holding down, and I appreciate that so much. And anybody that's Cash App, I know LaRon said he was Cash App, and I appreciate you and anybody who's done that. But as you launch off into the weekend, these are the conversations I'm hoping y'all are having around the dinner tables or when y'all out having drinks, and things to impart in conversation. I know people be like, we don't know what to talk about when we go out and we meet people. Well, here's some things that are worth the conversation. It's like, yo, hey, have you ever thought about Africa? You ever thought about going to Africa? You know what I'm saying? Those kind of things. Yeah, Joetta says sometimes it's a matter of convenience. Listen, there are people who are pro-black financially, but aren't pro-black socially. You know what I'm saying? That don't carry that moniker with them socially. And they feel like, as long as I'm doing my pro-black thing for the community, what I do for, personally shouldn't matter. Not understanding that there are people who are watching their behavior and are looking at them as a walking contradiction or hypocrisy. Excuse me. True enough, Everett says we need to learn to know when to switch from one survival personality to rest and relax. It's challenging because we have never had the opportunity to rest and relax. And it's difficult to do that in a place where you know that you always have to stay on guard. So I can't say that that people of color in America really have an opportunity to rest and relax, knowing that there's always something on the horizon to challenge us. So that's a difficult process in itself. You know what I'm saying? For us to manage, it's just difficult. Now, as a conversation of moving inconvenience, we have to manage to understand that just because you can doesn't mean you should. You know what I mean? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Adulthood requires certain things as much as wearing this black skin requires certain things. You have to hold yourself to a certain discipline regardless. Brown said, they in your face every day, got to deal with them to survive, make that paper and invest to your future. Yes, true enough. But there is a way that you do that maintains who you are. There's a certain level of discipline that we all have to walk around with in order to, maintain our sanity, but to be seen and respected the way that we want to be respected. The only thing you all complaining about the hood is that they don't represent our community how we want it to be represented. You know what I'm saying? We say that, sagging pants and all that kind of stuff gives off the wrong image, and it doesn't represent what we want or need them to represent. That's the challenge. They lack the discipline or the education around it, and people aren't saying to them, hey man, what are you doing? Pull your pants up. That's not a thing that we do. We didn't come up with that. That doesn't come from a respectable place. And that's the other challenge, is that we aren't requiring people to do the things that command respect. Not demand, but command respect. If I move, and so as you guys watch the Muslim community and their leadership, Farrakhan, I have very rarely seen their representation not in a suit and tie because of that very reason alone. You can't approach me when I am moving in a certain way, no matter what nationality you are, let alone black. If you're from my community and you see me moving a certain way, you're going to have to manage it, because you got to be in a certain way to come at me. And if you're outside of my community, you're going to really have to feel like some kind of way for you to engage and to jump into that circle. So if you're holding yourself at a certain reverence, there are only certain people who can gain or feel like they could get access to you. Women, y'all know this all too well. When y'all are looking super fly and fine and whatnot, y'all be like, how are you trying to holler at me when you ain't got your stuff together well enough to holler at me? You don't even look like somebody I would holler at based off of how I look. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those. Like, if your presentation is so key, then people have to manage how they move with you. So you got to know what you're putting out there so you can understand and respect what you're receiving. Y'all heard y'all heard the conversation. Girls be like, I want to wear what I want to wear. Cool, but you're going to get what you want to, but you're going to get what you're presenting. You can wear whatever you want to wear, ladies, but you're going to get what you're presented. Fellas, you can wear what you want to wear, but you can only approach certain people wearing that. No matter how dope your personality is, no matter how charismatic you are, you can't come up to certain people dressed a certain way and expect a certain result, because it doesn't go together. That's our life in a nutshell. For the response that we want from the public, we need to hold ourselves a certain way. And there are those of us in the community that are being exploited that undermines that. So when we talk about this horrible hip hop that's out there that's talking about shooting and all that kind of stuff, well, that's what's at the forefront. We support it some kind of way, shape, or form, and so it's going to keep getting elevated. What we support, not even that. There's an element out there, and Kanye West is talking about this part, that as long as they keep elevating the worst of us, as long as they keep promoting the worst of us, that becomes the global perception of how to manage us. She said rappers singing country and western. I mean, I don't complain about genres, because typically we're at the heart of creating it all. Everett. The first country singers that I've ever heard of was black. First rock and roll was black. R&B black, rap black. Like the stuff I enjoy and I listen to, most of it we created. So I don't admonish those who are taking it to the next level. I don't admonish them, because collectively we are very creative in the space of entertainment, but we're creative in so much other stuff. You know what I mean? I couldn't even answer that, Earl, because it's people create names and things to create boundaries to make it exclusive and inclusive for certain people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Exactly, Chuck Berry. Yep. We can make music. We're creative. We're boundlessly creative. You know what I'm saying? And so y'all got to understand that at the root of a lot of it is people who look like you and didn't get the credit for that. True story. But there are it's hard for me to go tit for tat with how music influences, because there are songs in rock and roll and in country music that are kind of like what D'Angelo did with Brown Sugar. And this is where you have to really be paying attention and have some certain kind of discernment. When you say none of them are degrading themselves, there's a rock and roll song out there that talks about a purple dragon, which is actually talking about them doing heroin. You know what I'm saying? There are songs out there like D'Angelo where he was talking about chocolate tie and all that stuff, and it was talking about weed. There are different that's why I don't get into that so much, because every genre is responsible for having a song that says something more than what it's saying on the surface. And it influences. Some of them kids commit suicide based off of listening to certain records because of the messaging and the way it's worded, and they really get a deeper understanding of it. But it's all perspective. And I can't separate one from the other from them being influential in some way, shape, or form. Every last one of them is and is responsible. But there are so many, like, just based off of the conversation points that we got, like, y'all got to remember those questions. Letitia had that really dope question. DJ Dub got a couple dope, really good dope questions, and I need y'all to remember those things because they're going to be worth talking about exponentially because they're huge in the mindset of us. You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay, that's what you're trying to point out. Okay, cool. Yeah. Collectively, we just have to demand and command a certain level of respect. Yeah, if you listen to everything, you'll see, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. But we have to start becoming the majority in our own communities instead of being the minority. Like right now, those of us who want to be seen and heard a certain way that we feel would be respectable in the world, we have to continue to groom and grow each other so that we look like the majority, even in our collective as a minority. Even as we're viewed as a minority in the global scheme of things, even within that minority, there's so much dissension in it that they don't see us as the good fruit of the whole of us. They see us as the minority, and that the disparaging parts of us, the prison inmates, the killers, the ones who rap these messages and the ones that put this disparagement out there, they look at them as the majority within the minority. They don't respect the whole of us because even in the whole of us, we're divided. And those factions outside of us are promoting the worst of us. Those outside of us, and these are the people Kanye West was talking about along with others, that they promote the worst of us in order to keep the frequency down on all of us. How are we, those who know better and are doing better, having to fight so hard to be seen and heard on a global scale? It's because we're competing with those who are being promoted outside of us. They have a support system. Yeah. So Tashi said, and this is what we're aiming to do, which is keep our dollar in our communities longer than the 6 hours it's reported to be in the community now. Black dollar, 6 hours in the community. White dollar, 17 days. Jewish dollar, 19 days. Asian dollar, 29 days. Yes. Okay. So here's Everett, I'm glad you brought that up. Everett brought up the stock market. If you're not looking at the stock market as potentially to be involved, then you're missing out on one of the tools this country has set up to gain wealth. It's colorblind in that respect. Anybody can invest in the stock market and gain. You can lose too, but you can gain. If you have a savings account and your money is just sitting in your savings account, I always go back to the story of the father in biblical times who had 3 sons, and he gave them all the same amount of money to see what they would do with it. One of them went out, partied it all away. Another one went out and buried his money, and the other one went out and made more money with his money. That parable, I think, is indicative of what and how you should move with your money. A lot of you people are burying your money in your savings account and it's not making any money. I would rather you gamble that money. I'd rather you figure out some kind of way to play poker or blackjack or something and make money off of the money that you have. There's a certain amount of money that should be for savings and a certain amount of money that should be the risk that you take to grow. Sonny was talking about that earlier where she's doing all these get rich schemes. Well, that's what you should be doing. There should be some money that you're spending to try to elevate your positioning in life. It's so Tashi, it's simple to understand in context that usually there are stock accounts that if you put money in it, they just grow anyway. They're able to withstand the ebbs and flows of the stock market. And then there are some that are high yield, which you gain money quicker, but you also can lose it quicker, and you have to pay more attention to it. So some people do a stock that they can let their money sit in it, like an Apple or a Google or certain stocks like that, where they just let their money sit and it grows over time, over a 10-year investment. And these are future planning things, and that's a challenge for our community. All right, Lola, we'll talk to you soon. That's a challenge. The crypto game is I'm still, I'm familiar with it, but I've never gained anything with the crypto. It's been all L's, even at a time where it was flourishing. So I don't play the crypto game too much. We were taught what that ticker at the bottom of the TV means. That's what's dope. Checking savings don't make nothing. Nope. I buy what I use. Yep. The first two made money and the third buried it. Yep. No. It wasn't the first two. Was it Matt Mickey? I thought only one of them did the right thing with the money. I thought one of them spent it all, another one buried it, and the other one duplicated it. I gotta go back. Now you got me going back having to reread that parable. I thought it was two that mismanaged the money and one managed it correctly. But all that to say that, you know what I'm saying, a lot of folks are burying their money and it just doesn't make sense. Yep, we think in the short term, Joetta, when everyone else around us is thinking of long-term and generational investments. Those Asian people whose money spends 29 days in their community, that's because they've invested into the kids, into their juniors, and those juniors are managing it. Yeah, of the talents, man, Mickey, you're absolutely right. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back over it again because that's one of my favorites too when it comes to talking about savings and spending and whatnot. Make sure y'all hitting the like button. Make sure y'all share the room. Those of you who are gifting, man, thank you so much. I know Trina did, and then so did Olympic. I appreciate everyone who is gifted and whatnot. The Cash App is available. Thank you, LaRon, for the Cash App, and anybody else who has and whatnot. But we're live and we're cooking right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm on a little bit longer than what I normally am on. Yeah, and Tasha, you're absolutely right. And we could say, I'd rather use the word we haven't known generational so that we can actually start implementing doing it now. When we say we don't, that means we currently still aren't accepting how to manage that. But the fact that we're talking about generational wealth, we should know how to start building that. And we should start looking at these, we got to start growing our kids up a little bit earlier. We want them to have a childhood and we want them to experience life and have fun and whatnot. But it's such a serious thing nowadays for them to get a certain foundation of education to carry them through, or else we leave them unprotected. And that's physically, financially, and spiritually, we don't cover them in the way that they need to be covered. Other cultures teach the family trade, even if the kids don't go into family business. That's absolutely right. They even when they don't go into that business, they still have a say-so in it because they understand the nuances of it. We don't have any businesses though. We don't have, we haven't created the family businesses that could be from a whole bunch of different levels. It doesn't have to be, supermarkets and all that. There's so many things that we're watching other communities of people come in and build a community, build a life, or build a business around for their kids. The Hispanic community has come in, and agriculturally, they are the ones who are taking care of our lawns and our houses. That's not something that we're not capable of doing. We just have become such a prideful people that we would rather do illegal things and get money fast than taking the long way to that same kind of success without the dangers. Yeah. Hey, Jaleesa, what's up? So that is the thing that's going on, is that we are is that we have to build, we have to build differently. So it's safe to say most blacks sit in a spot longer than the black dollar stays in the community. Absolutely. The black dollar is 6 hours. Man, I mean, it's just hard to even say that. 6 hours. 6 hours, man. A flight from New York to LA, and then that money's out of the neighborhood. It's crazy, right? And then you say, in the Asian community in America, I appreciate that, Paula. I see you. The Asian community in America, 29 days, a month, just under a month. Can you imagine that? And I keep thinking about that, man, in context. I say, what would you do if the money you're spending circulates throughout your community for the whole month? Minus 2 days. Minus 2 days. How does that work? What do you think you could do if that's just the dollar? Imagine all of the dollars just circulating like that. That's right. And it'd be gone that quick, though. See, they make the money on the corners and slanging. And then when they're done making the money, what do they do, Dub? If they're not re-upping, they spending that money on some sneakers, some Gucci this, some Louis that. They're spending money. They're burning money fast, and they aren't invested in places where it could do stuff. If you got that same dollar back at the end of the month, you said that's what it is. That's why they're able to move the way they're able to move. What up, TJ? They're able to move in a different way because that money stays in there. Everything they need in our Asian area has everything in walking distance. That's right. Because they want to make it easy for you to spend that money next door. And instead of admonishing them or acting crazy towards Asian people, we as a community should be looking like, what did they do? Because they got what we should have got from America on every front. They got the grants, they got the reparations, they got all that stuff that we are steadily fighting for. For sure, Red. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. We got to examine that. Like, we got to examine what other people have done. We're so prideful that we won't even look around and say, maybe we should try that. And again, I go back to Dr. Fred Price, who said that. He said, maybe we should go to war with this country like the other ones did. What up, Gino? These other ethnicities went to war with America and said, we're not standing for that. So tell me, when have we done that? We might have done a lot of marching. Martin Luther King did a lot of marching. Malcolm X did a lot of marching. Malcolm X said it. And before he was able to really get to the hearts and minds of people, they undermined and discredited him, even in the black community, because he was a Muslim. His faith, they shot the messenger for the message, which is crazy. So we got to reestablish ourselves as a force to be not only taken seriously, but to be respected. And the only way we're going to do that, they're not going to hand that stuff over. They're not going to gift us what we ask for. Yeah. So we have to take it. I'm going to forever just continuously communicate to y'all about standing your ground, so to speak. There's no way anything's going to change for black people in America without a real, the marches we should have had, everybody should have been strapped up. Everybody should have had gas masks. Everybody should have been prepared for any contingency that might come against us, so that we're a formidable opponent against those people who would rather see us stay stuck in the way that we were. Until people buy gas masks, I don't know what to tell people. Until people buy their ability to protect each other, I don't know what we're talking about. Everything starts with self-preservation and then moves on from there. If you can't take care of you, you absolutely will not be willing to or have the capability of taking care of me. So take care of yourself and your family, then be prepared to take care of everybody else. Yep. And then go from there. It's going to require it. Them giving us what we deserve to get is like trying to take a rattle out of a baby's hand. If you ever try to take a rattle out of a baby's hand, you know how hard that is. But I'm getting my calls right now, y'all. It is we've been on for 2.5 hours. I'm gonna jet off of here, man. I appreciate y'all so much. I got a couple errands to run, and then I may jump back on later on tonight. I just got a couple errands to run that are time sensitive. For everybody who has supported the channel with the likes, the shares, the thumbs ups, the cash apps, the gifting, and all that kind of stuff, man, I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all have an amazing weekend. I hope I helped y'all be excited about the weekend and get into some things and gave y'all some more focus to share with your friends and family over the weekend. Yeah, man, and we gonna fight the power. I love that. I'm gonna need you to spin that this week too. But yo, I appreciate everybody for showing up. We will be back on, Saturdays and Sundays I jump on whenever I get a free moment or whatnot. So if y'all got notifications turned on, of course we're gonna jump in and kick it. I hope y'all bless yourselves and bless someone else in the process this weekend. You all have been a blessing to me, as you guys usually are. I appreciate everything, man. For those of you who said have a coffee on me or a drink on me or whatnot, I appreciate y'all for sewing into that. And I'll see y'all this weekend, man. Stay tuned. And if I don't see y'all this weekend, y'all will definitely see me Monday morning, same time, same place, with a bite to eat. Something that might be hard to swallow, but it's going to be tasty and filling. All right. I'll chop it up with y'all a little later, man. I'm out.